Only adults in the gallery. Viewer discretion is advised. Well, hello there, my friend. Welcome back to the old Gavin Fish True Crime Channel. I am Gavin Fish. This is my True Crime Channel. And on this channel, we like to cut through the fluff and sensationalism in true crime, get down to the nitty gritty. Certainly not the only one. There are a lot of great channels here on YouTube, and I'm glad that you have chosen to spend this little piece of time with me. Hey, before we get into tonight's subject, which is the murder of Suzanne Morphew, I have a quick announcement to make. I'm just going to make this announcement at the beginning of every video that we do this week, okay? I have been working on something that I just wanted to create something fun that we could do together. And it's ready. I think it's ready. It's taken some work to build the technology to get it done, but I am proud to announce that on the 15th, no, I'm sorry, the 14th, so next Monday, we are going to start the great 2025 Baby Gavin treasure hunt. Okay? You can see this on my website. I put a link down below. If the link isn't in the description below, you got to refresh because I just put it in there. Okay? But the great 2025 Baby Gavin treasure hunt is a 20 clue treasure hunt that you have to solve in order as an amazing internet sleuth. I give you the first clue right here. Here are the official rules. I don't have registration open yet. We're going to register on the 14th. Okay? But this is going to be fun. This game is going to last until it's won or until the end of the year, December 31st at 11:59 p.m. and 59 seconds. Okay? So go to the link down in the description below. I will post it in the fish tank here in a few minutes so that you guys can have easy access to it. Of course, the fish tank is where we hang out online here on Facebook. I will also I'll put it on, I don't know where I'll put it. I'll put it in all the places. Okay. But it's something that I think is going to be fun. It's going to challenge us mentally. Hopefully. I mean, maybe not. Maybe you guys are way smarter than me, but the Baby Gavin treasure hunt starts next Monday, and I hope that you guys enjoy it. Okay. With that, let's just get right on into this case. Suzanne Morphew was 49 years old when she disappeared on May 10th of 2020. You guys know that recently her husband, Barry Morphew, has been arrested in her murder. Now, he had been arrested and charged before, but because of some issues, some prosecutorial misconduct, which actually led a district attorney to being disbarred and losing office, he kind of slithered out. But he's been recharged, he's been reindicted, and I wanted to read with you guys a couple of pieces of content, starting with an article from CBS News. Let me bring it up here real quick. All right, right here. Suzanne Morphew's body was moved at least twice after she was murdered, according to the new indictment. Now, we went through the indictment. We're going to go through it again. Barry Morphew, you guys can't see this, but it's in my way. Okay. Barry Morphew, a longtime suspect in his wife's disappearance and murder, was arrested in Arizona on June 20th, 2025, 2 days after he was indicted on a first degree murder charge in the case of his wife Suzanne Morphew's death. This was the second time Barry Morphew has been arrested and charged in her death. The initial charges were dismissed without prejudice, meaning authorities reserve the right to charge him again. That's not really what it means. It means that the court allowed authorities to charge him again. They don't get a say on whether it's with or without prejudice. Okay, the latest grand jury indictment alleges new details that are surprising even to those who've been following the case since Suzanne Morphew disappeared on Mother's Day 2020. Barry Morphew has long stated he had nothing to do with his wife's murder, and the couple's 2 adult daughters have stood by their father. After the initial charges against Barry Morphew were dismissed, authorities continued to search for her body, and on September 22nd, 2020, 3 years later, Suzanne Morphew's remains were found in and around a shallow, this is a quote, shallow clandestine grave less than an hour south of the Morphew residence, according to the indictment. The majority of her bones were recovered, the indictment states, and a board-certified anthropologist, a botanist, and an entomologist were brought in to analyze the remains and concluded that it was unlikely Suzanne decomposed from a fresh body to a skeleton at this location. Okay, remember, an anthropologist is somebody who studies bones. A botanist is somebody who studies plant life, and an entomologist is somebody who studies bug life, insect life, right? Dan R. Ridenour, who lives in the Salida area of, or Salida, I don't know how they pronounce it there, of Colorado, where the Morphews lived when Suzanne Morphew went missing, is the news director and operations manager of the Heart of the Rockies radio. He told 48 Hours that it was hard to make sense of the indictment's allegations against Barry Morphew. Why would he do that? Ridenour asked. Why would he move the body? For one thing, Ridenour noted that Barry Morphew has been under heavy scrutiny since Suzanne Morphew was reported missing. There is not a more recognizable face in Salida than Barry Morphew, Ridenour said. He's going to take that chance and drive 70 miles to the south and dig a shallow grave. There are too many questions. That is astute. But the indictment is unequivocal. Suzanne Morphew's bones were moved to that location after her body had decomposed elsewhere, meaning it had to have been moved at least twice after the murder. Of course, this with the supposition that she was murdered at her home. So after her death at the home, she would be moved to a place where she decomposed. And then after she decomposed, her bones would be moved to the place where they were found. Okay. Get you back over here. She, quote, she was not initially killed in the San Luis Valley, Ridenour said. She was moved there. That was not her first grave. In addition, tests reveal that in Suzanne Morphew's bone marrow, the chief toxicologist found a mixture of 3 chemicals known as BAM. And you and I have gone through those pretty extensively, right? This is a cocktail of chemicals that are used to tranquilize animals like deer, hogs, wildlife like cougars, mountain lions, rhinoceros, the whole shebang. Okay. The compound is used to tranquilize wildlife, and the indictment noted that Barry Morphew has admitted using those drugs to tranquilize deer. He had even admitted to authorities that 1 month before Suzanne Morphew disappeared, he had used those chemicals to tranquilize a deer in the breezeway of the Morphew residence. The chemical compound takes several minutes to cause sedation, the indictment states, and tests found that Suzanne's death was not immediate following BAM exposure because Suzanne Morphew's body had begun to metabolize the drug before she died. Of course, they found it in her bone marrow, right? Authorities have long suspected that Barry Morphew chased Suzanne Morphew around their house after somehow injecting her with the BAM compound, according to texts. I'm sorry, the BAM compound. I'm ignoring punctuation. According to texts, Suzanne Morphew had told Barry Morphew she wanted to divorce civilly, and it was later revealed she was having a 2-year affair with a former schoolmate. The indictment links Barry Morphew to purchases of the BAM compound, which is a highly controlled drug. It concludes the prescription records show that when Suzanne Morphew disappeared, only one private citizen living in that entire area of the state had access to BAM, Barry Morphew. 48 Hours correspondent Peter Van Sant, remember this is from CBS, updates the case in blah, 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 now streaming. Okay. His case is incredibly unique, says Aya Gruber, now a law professor at the University of Southern California School of Law. When you start to dig a little deeper, nothing is what it seems. Gruber studied thousands of pages of public documents from the prosecutor, investigators, and defense attorneys. Have I put these up on? I did. I think I put them up on Patreon, if you guys want to check them out there. Suzanne Morphew was reported missing on the 10th. She'd been alone that day because her daughters, Macy, 16, and Mallory, 20, were off on a church-sponsored camping trip and planned to return home later that Mother's Day. After Suzanne Morphew was officially reported missing by a neighbor, investigators began to examine Barry Morphew's story. Friends and relatives told investigators that the marriage was troubled, and agents found a deleted text from Suzanne to Barry on his phone that read, "I'm done. I could care less what you're up to and have been for years. We just need to figure this out civilly." But 10 days after Suzanne Morphew disappeared, agents were pulled in a different direction when they found a so-called spy pen belonging to Suzanne. That's this one right here. The spy pen has a long battery life and is designed to look and write like an ordinary pen, but it has one extra feature. It is voice activated and records conversations. Suzanne Morphew had acquired it, she told a friend, because she suspected Barry Morphew was having an affair, and she hoped to use the pen to gather evidence, but the plan backfired. Investigators listened to what the pen had recorded, and although there was no evidence of Barry Morphew having an affair, they say they heard intimate conversations between Suzanne Morphew and someone named Jeff. It was another twist in a case filled with them. Anyway, I don't think we need to totally get into this. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Yeah, because we've gone over all that stuff. The main thing here that we want to talk about is this idea that Barry Morphew moved Suzanne Morphew's body allegedly twice. And he did it the second time, again, allegedly, while he was under the microscope of an investigation. That's what we need to believe if the indictment is true and accurate. Now, before we get into the indictment, I'd really love to know what you guys think. So let me hop on over to your comments. We'll bring them up here. Let's see. Tabitha is trying to grow her hair out again. How's it going? Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. But thank you. It's just so hot. Let's see. Darn, I was really hoping to catch you live from the beginning. Love your show. Love you being natural and forgetting things like me. We are real. Indeed. Indeed. We are real people here. Hugging demons. Gotta hug them demons. Gavin, do you think Barry may have kept some of the missing bones as a trophy? Oh, wow. Well, if he did, then he is very good at hiding them because, again, he has been under the microscope for 5 years. He's been under investigation for 5 years. So did he keep missing bones? I think maybe the more likely thing that happened is an animal probably took the missing bones. That's my guess. Meredith says, I don't get why he'd chase her, especially if she'll soon be sedated. Yeah, I wonder about that too. I mean, other than trying to maybe make the blood pump a little faster to get that tranquilizer metabolizing a little bit, or possibly like he was considering doing her harm before tranquilizing her, chasing her around the house. Ooh, just refresh, sorry. Dashelle Bailey Reese or Rice says, this is what happens in tiny towns with next to no law enforcement. It would have been so easy for him to move her twice. Whew. Well, my question, and this is just, I mean, this is just me. I'm not even speculating. I'm just wondering. My question is, could he have an accomplice? That's the first thing that occurred to me. If he's under suspicion, is it possible that he has an accomplice? Now, the two people that come to mind, I mean, immediately would be the daughters, right? And the reason that they're suspicious to me is that they've stood by their dad this whole time. However, I mean, daughters will stand by their beloved parent if they just can't believe that he would do something like that. And I mean, that would be really crappy to learn that your dad did that to your mom and then be roped into that, the conspiracy. So I think it's less likely that one of them did. Excuse me, just one sec. Okay, I'm still a little verklempt. Okay. Great comment. Beck B says, Gavin, in Australia, a similar case happened with a husband and wife. The botanist was able to prove only their home had the flora and fauna in her hair, not where her body was found. Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting. I wonder if they brought in a botanist, then they may have suspected that there was some plant life, some fungus or something that he or she would be able to study. Interesting. JoJo's Crime Lines and Mysteries. I've not been keeping up with Morphew. Has this case finally made it to trial? No, he's just been indicted and rearrested. So we're starting the process of getting there. Ooh, Jasmine says, Gavin, I think he was chasing her to get the trank dart in her. Like maybe he was just using a syringe rather than shooting her with the dart gun. Now, one of the caps to the dart. See, the thing about tranquilizer darts, and I'm not an expert on this by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it requires an impact in order to make the injection. I don't think that you can stab somebody with a tranquilizer dart and it will do its job. So he would have to be chasing her around with an injectable, right? A a syringe or something like that. And Michelle just goes, he chased her because he's a psycho. Hey, did you guys notice that our amazing moderator, not Autumn, I'm sorry, Robin has her very own emoji. Just give her a little yay Robin and that emoji will show up. One man's trash says he chased. Jen says he chased her because he didn't want her to get somewhere other people could see her, maybe, or get in a vehicle. Yeah. Oh, yeah. What a great comment. Let's bring up Suzanne's picture here, by the way. Perhaps that is what it is. Maybe he tranked her and it takes a while for the sedation to take effect, so he didn't want her to leave the house. This is all just speculation, but it's very interesting to think about. Simplify. Gavin, I heard she would be paralyzed but not totally sedated. So, excuse me, the drug concoction, as I understand it, has a paralytic and has sedation medication. So I think the first thing that happens is probably the paralytic. I don't know in what order they metabolize, but they do lose consciousness. Yeah. After you drink water, I always want to say water drop. Yes, guys, I get our delicious water from our water drop reverse osmosis system here at the house. It is delicious. Patty says, why would the daughters aid and abet? I don't think they would. I really don't. I'm just thinking of who could be an accomplice because I think that he was under pretty close scrutiny. Maybe not. Maybe he had no scrutiny and he was doing it. Meredith, think he'll play? Yes. Yes, I do. Everybody please. Dashell says he probably does have an accomplice, but who? Susan Lewis, so nice to hear someone use Yiddish and correctly too. Well, I do my best. I do my best. Okay, let's go over to the indictment and we're going to go over this one more time. Okay. You guys want to be able to see this too, right? All right, here's the grand jury indictment, the people of Colorado v. Barry Morphew. This is dated, I think, the 30th of June. Let me just check this. That's his bond. 18th day of June. Okay. The 18th day of June. So let's go up to the top. All right. Count one, murder in the first degree after deliberation, felony one. On or about May 9th to May 10th, 2020, or in or triable in the state of Colorado, Barry Morphew unlawfully, feloniously, after deliberation, and with intent to cause the death of a person other than himself, caused the death of Suzanne Morphew in violation of Section 18.3.102.1a of the Colorado Revised Statute. Remember that it is not felonious or misdemeanorous to cause the death of a person that is someone not other than yourself. Being very careful because of YouTube here. It is only a violation if you cause the death of someone else. Okay. I want to be purposeful about what we read here. I want to go down because we know the details of the case to where. Yeah, so on the 11th, the authorities commenced a search of the Morphew residence that spanned several days. They didn't find any evidence of a break-in or intruder. They did collect items of potential evidence and DNA swabs. They processed through offender databases like CODIS, were compared to profiles of known individuals who may have been present in the vehicles of the residents. The results did not lead to any stranger or intruder suspects. To me, that means that they did find Barry. Okay, keep going. Okay, law enforcement located a locked gun safe in the garage. Inside that, there was a dart rifle or tranquilizer rifle positioned toward the front of the safe. And law enforcement also found packages of new dart brown tranquilizer darts in the gun safe. Okay. Electronics. More electronics. Let me just keep on going because we learn about their affairs and all that. We learn about Barry's previous work as a deer farmer in Indiana, how he got the BAM. Okay, here we are. On September 22nd, 2023, human remains were found in and around a shallow, clandestine grave in Saguache County, Colorado, near Highway 17. My apologies to the terrific citizens of Colorado for butchering the name of that county. The remains were found a few hundred feet down a dirt road off Highway 17. This location was less than an hour south of the Morphew residence by main highways. The remains were determined to be those of Suzanne Morphew. The majority of her bones were recovered. Again, going back to the comment, did he keep a trophy? I don't know. Many of the bones were significantly bleached. To me, that means that they were in the sun, right? Along with Suzanne's bones, law enforcement recovered a cancer report and items of clothing, some of which were consistent with bike clothing Suzanne was known to wear. There was no visible perimortem trauma observed. A board certified forensic anthropologist, a botanist, and an entomologist all analyzed the remains, and several observations were noted. There was a distinct lack of bug activity, which was inconsistent with the remains having decomposed at that location. By the way, can I interest you in a video? Give me just 1 second. I prepared a video for you guys, 3 videos I'm going to just open them up here. Now, these were this was an interview that I did with my friend Dr. Gruwell. Here you go. They're on my website, and he is a professor of biology, professor of entomology. He is a bug guy. When we talked, we were talking about the case of Gabby Petito. Remember, her bones, her mostly decomposed body was found. And Dr. Gruwell has a lot to say about what entomology has to say about crime scenes. So you can just look for these videos. The biology professor explains how maggots help solve murder, how decay from insects helps solve murder, and if you can get DNA from a rotting body. Okay, so those are clips from an old video. I think you guys will enjoy those. They're on the channel. Okay. Um, let's get back. Let me get back over to where you guys are looking. All right. There was a distinct lack of bug activity, which was inconsistent with. Wait a minute. Did I miss showing you guys that? Did I bring up the website and show you that? Just look on my website for a biology professor. You'll find it. Okay. Having decomposed at that location. So it had decomposed at a different location. I think one that was exposed to sunlight, which is why the bones were bleached. By the way, animals could have drug off bones from either location, right? The clothing items lacked evidence of decomposition, which was inconsistent with Suzanne Morphew wearing the bite clothes at the time her body decomposed. Guys, that is weird, right? That is just what that tells me is she was wearing something else when she decomposed. So the the alleged murderer, Barry Morphew, is what police say, went and picked up her decomposed body, the bones from her decomposed body, put them in different clothing, and then buried them in another grave? What else does that tell us? That says something different, doesn't it? That is odd. Additionally, there was a lack of animal predation on the bones. There was only a very small amount of desiccated soft tissue found on a few of the bones, and there was no hair mass located. Oh, so no animal predation. I would imagine that they would see bite marks or claw marks or something like that on the bones. So maybe the bones are somewhere else being used as a trophy. Though Barry Morphew doesn't strike me as a serial killer, somebody who would keep a trophy. Ooh, okay. All these features would have been expected if this had been the original gravesite where decomposition occurred. The forensic anthropologist opined that based on these factors, it was unlikely Suzanne decomposed from a fresh body to a skeleton at this location. So let's talk about a couple things. I would like your thoughts on these things. Number one, I'm really curious about the whole co-conspirator angle. Did he have an accomplice? Number two, the whole thing where the clothing that her bones were found in or with did not appear to have been the same clothing that was with her body when she decomposed. I suppose that could mean that she decomposed like naked, like he took off her clothing and let her decompose. I don't know. I'd love your opinion on that. And number three, the whole bone thing, the the missing bones thing. I want your take on that. Let's go over to your comments. Because I mean, obviously there are two locations, right? Two locations. Hmm. Carol says this is a big ask from someone else. Pff, yeah. You'd have to be close to be able to ask somebody to to be your accomplice, right? And Deschelle also says, who would risk their freedom for him? I'm super curious about that. Exactly. Exactly. Sawatch or Sawatch. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Interesting. Let me it just refresh. Give me a second. Jojo, have you tried allergy meds? Your cough might be from allergies. No, thank you guys so much for being concerned about my health. I do have some chronic issues with my lungs, and so when I do catch a cough, I deal with it for a long time. It tends to turn into pneumonia, it tends to turn into pleurisy. I am under a doctor's care. I'm good. But thank you so much for your concern. I really mean that. Um, Michelle says maybe his accomplice was his girlfriend. What do you think the true cause of death is? Strangulation. Um, okay, so a woman of Suzanne's age would have a fully developed and hardened hyoid bone. I don't think they've said anything about the hyoid bone in anything that I have read about it being broken, but I could be wrong. You guys, if you know that, correct me. I think that um, based on my reading, I think that the working theory was that once she was paralyzed, all he had to do was like sit on her, lay on her, put something heavy on her, and she wouldn't be able to breathe. And then she just died from lack of oxygen. I think they would call that technically asphyxiation. I think, not being an expert. Hugging demons. I'm not sure about her wedding ring finger bones, her metacarpals, her phalanges, her tarsals. I can't. I'm so bad at biology. Um, did he put her in biker clothes after she decomposed to try to keep with the story of her in an outdoor accident? If he did, well, that's a bad story because she was found in a grave. Interesting. Meredith. But you know what? I mean, there's nothing to say that this person, that Mr. Morphew, was thinking clearly. As we have well established here on this channel, criminals are stupid, especially the ones that get caught. They do things like plan on dropping anvils on victims, and apparently they're Wile E. Coyote in their derangements. I don't know. Did Suzanne have a history of cancer, i.e., the port, or was that possibly how he got the BAM into her? Um, yeah, I think she did have a cancer port. Let me look that up. Yeah, she had blood cancer called follicular lymphoma. Um, yeah, and it's possible that he did that, though I would imagine in a struggle, there would just be an injection. That's my guess. That, that's what I think. Patty girl, Barry took trophies from the deer he abused. Well, that is a valid and astute observation. He did do that. Great comment. Oh my goodness. You guys are always like 3 steps ahead of me. What if he changed her clothes, says Dashell, to avoid the detection of the tranquilizer? Ah, yeah. Which ones were missing? Maybe they fell out during the movie. They don't say which ones were missing. Can they tell if she was decomposed in some kind of chemical, then dressed and moved? Oh, I did not even consider that. Guys, let me see if I can find this real quick. I'm going to see if I can find some photos to show you, okay? I think this would be... Let me see if I can find this. Can't find it easily, but I was I was in my day job. I did a story on a murder victim in Western Pennsylvania who's known as Penny Doe. Penny was hit with something in the head, and she was murdered that way. Her body was found once she was badly decomposed, and so they did an autopsy, and then they gave the bones to a forensic anthropologist, and there was a whole process of cleaning them. They do not bleach, right? They used degreaser, and then they use like beetles to eat the fleshy parts away. Anyways, really fascinating. Is it possible that Barry Morphew, being somebody who raised deer and would have had some experience with mounting uh, antlers and stuff like that, is it possible that he had some type of chemical bath that he could have used to process her? I guess. Man, that would be really, really risky, especially when police were, I mean, they were on him almost immediately. Wow, fascinating. Didn't the wife say she had discovered he had a girlfriend? Yes. Woman of Steel. Pleurisy is very painful, right? Yes. Luckily, I don't have it this time. Just Ducky says a decomposing body would leave traces of body fluid in the spot. Maybe there wasn't any of that where she was found either. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you are right. Yeah, taxidermy. No matter what, this is one psycho. What if he had her decompose in the shed or basement, then maybe while transferring the body, he scattered some to look like animals just in case they are found? Yeah. We do not know which bones are missing. But wow. Guys, it's just a fascinating case. Fascinating, fascinating case. Michelle, because surely sun bleaching and chemical bleaching would show up differently in the lab. I would imagine so. I would imagine so. Oh, Woman of Steel. This is, yes, I think you're right. Didn't the ME say the tranquilizer killed her? There was enough in her bone marrow to kill her. I believe that is what I heard. Does that sound right to you? Yeah, it does. Well, what it said was there's no study on the use of BAM on humans, but he imagined that it would be enough to kill her. I think if I remember that. Yes. Goodness sakes. All right, guys. I just find it really interesting. This is a case where we're going to keep following it. Uh, we may be able to, maybe this gets to a trial, and maybe we spend some time together watching this trial. We certainly will do our best, right? I don't know if they do that in Colorado, but we are going to start trying to do that here on the channel. Before we go, one, thank you for spending some time with me. Two, remember the treasure hunt, okay? Starting on the 14th, 20 clue treasure hunt to save missing baby Gavin. He's going to go missing on the 14th. That's just stay with me here. It's the game, right? But it's going to be fun. I will put a link to register on the 14th here under the official rules, and then we'll have a leaderboard. We'll have the whole shebang. It's going to be lots of fun. While we're on the internet, remember, if you click on this little fishy right here, that will take you over to, why did it just refresh? The fish tank, where we hang out on Facebook. So I invite you to hang out with us over there. I wanted to take a moment to say thank you to Pat Burt Long, who has been for the last several months our main admin on the fish tank. She decided to retire from adminning the channel, and we wish her well. Sad to see her go. She has done such great work. I'm really glad that she gave us the time that she did. Jamie is going to be back to being our main administrator, which I'm pretty darn happy about. But either way, thank you, Pat, for everything you did for us. And then come join us over on the fish tank. And the last thing I want to say tonight is that I realize that there are a lot of people hurting right now who are affected by the flash flooding down in Texas. My goodness, what a tragedy! What an absolute tragedy! My heart goes out to you who are mourning the loss of loved ones. I'm so sorry. And for those of you who are the praying type, I invite you to join me in praying for the well-being of those families. That, I mean, I just can't even imagine that. Yeah, just can't imagine it. And I don't even have the words to describe what I even want to say other than our thoughts are with you, our prayers are with you, and I'm so sorry for that terrible tragedy. With that, guys, I'm going to bid you adieu until the next time we are together. Until then, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.